This is Justin AMZN for Tuesday, January 14th, 2020. This is the downtrend line that I just drew on Monday, and I had to readjust a little bit because I had the endpoint sitting way over here, and it jumped, but I redrew it just about where I had it, and clearly we stayed under it today. I had a very fast decline right out the gate. Very quickly came down, tagged 1880.05. Looked like there was a chance it was going to go up there, and all of a sudden it just flushed lower. It came all the way down, even to the next pivot here at 1863.84. And it kind of got going there. This is tweezer-ish candles here. The lows are very close to each other. I mean, for this kind of range, they're within a quarter of each other. And it did start to get going, had a slight rollover, this being somewhat of an S-curve that then just turned into a Morningstar reversal, came back up into a bigger S-curve. So right now, we've got kind of a downtrend here, a new one, a little steeper than this one. So, this angle doesn't really fit this one here at all. And then there's an argument you could call this a flat bottom here if you somewhat discount this. And on the daily, I mean, it's just a lower wick dipping through there. I would not be surprised if we move a little bit lower, touching the 21, take out any of the bulls that we're holding from here and have a stop. Anybody who has a stop right below these bullish candles, they may have been stopped out today, but more likely they may get stopped out tomorrow. And that would look a little more similar to what we did over here, where we did come back, had a much lower wick, and took out some previous buy points over here. I mean, at least this one. It would be similar to that. Obviously, it doesn't have to play out like that, but it's just a nice. I mean, if we bounce from here, great, let's go. We're off to the races. But if we do pull back a little more, don't be that person that has your stop right there. I mean, it's a great place to have your stop if you're going to trail it up and look to maintain your gains. Otherwise, it's an easy place to be picked off. So if we do pull back a little bit more, see if we can get a buy below this candle, even way down here. If we get down to 1815, that'd be a great place. I think I said that before, just because we had so many points in here that was acting as a pivot. That would be a really nice S curve, and yeah, I think that would be a really nice place to bounce. But we don't have to get there. If we do, though, that's a nice target. So back in here to the 5-minute, really quick decline. You would have had to play that with puts right out the gate, and those ran up. I mean, this is the 1850 puts. They're pretty expensive, under $3, but there wasn't really anything that you could have done without just having that open. What's easier then is, not easy, but having an order sitting open for an S-curve, and that would have been right through this range. I mean, it even went sideways between the $5 and $4 range for a while, like almost an hour, about an hour, and then started to get going and did its own little S-curve here and got going a little more, came right back up to this pivot. So getting in 5x4 with a target at 7 or 8 would have been nice. That would have been a nice gain here. So that would have been getting in bearish right up here. Even waiting, I mean, this looks like it could keep marching higher, comes right back up into the pivot. You couldn't tell where this one was going to end. It pushed past the pivot yesterday in this range. Maybe this one was going to do the same thing, but then it didn't. We got a little bit of, we had declining momentum, we had a little bit of squeeze here, and then started to roll over. And that's really where you need to be in, or you would have had to wait for this kind of a retest over here. You would not have had the same fill. But you could have gotten in 550 by 450 and just rode that down to the pivot. And that would have been the move here, 550 by 450, and just let that ride probably to 750 or 8, which still would have been a 2-hour trade. And then you got another chance to do it right here, back up to 750, not up to 8. And that was going from here to here. So similar, just with riding the 21, it pushed through it a little bit further here. not as clean, not as constant of a decline as this day, as Friday. But you had some similarities. This was just a much gentler slope here because it had its big move in the morning, first thing in the morning, and didn't recover as much. And then, comparing back to Friday, we had a big move in the morning and we did recover a little bit, but we had a lot more room to go. And today we had a pivot, really in front of us right here. So that's how to trade it bearish. I don't know that you would have wanted to been jumping in front of this freight train coming down here. But had you done that with calls, you'd want to be a little ways away. So like the 1900, they did come down to about $4 here and then bounced and then came back not quite as far as 4. We give you a little bit of a Morningstar reversal here, and you could have been getting in like just bracketing, or not bracketing, going bullish above it here. So like 475 by 375, 5 by 4, something like that. You just didn't, you would have had to just scalp that for an R, and barely an R, barely touched 6. So it didn't really do much the rest of the day. Just went flat into the last couple hours of the day. So yeah, the calls were tough to trade today. It didn't really work. But obviously we're below this pivot and this pivot, well, not pivot, sorry. This gap and this gap and this downtrend, and then we got below this pivot and we stayed below the pivot. So clearly more bearish than bullish. So this could either be like a flag on an hourly and we continue lower, or this could be the start to some sort of bounce like a double bottom here that didn't really play out. You had some decent volume coming in, people looking to buy it off of the double bottom, and it didn't really work. You had a lot of bears coming in right here, right at 1235, actually. That's interesting. That's just a really big candle. So I'm not sure what happened then, but you can see the volume spike here. It went down, but not as low as it had been the previous hour and a half. So I don't know if something happened here that stirred up Amazon and anything else. But anyway, yeah. So some lower highs, relative lows. We'll see if we get back up here at all tomorrow and roll back down, or ride it back up there. It's been so bullish lately. I wouldn't be surprised if we do another double bottom sort of shape, another S curve here. We just got a deeper S curve than I was looking for. I thought we were going to hold 1880, and we didn't. So we're down here, but we could still make a bigger S curve over the next day or so, and really play this out nicely here. So let's look for some indecision to come in here, and for that indecision to move back up. Obviously, looking at that on a bigger time frame here, you're looking for something to hold a level through here, give you some movement in here, and then ultimately start to break out. Let's get above this downtrend. Right now, I don't know that we can get above it too quickly, but once we get above it, look for a retracement down to this pivot or back down to this line itself. Let's get above that and then start moving away from it, make some higher lows. That'll show that there's a bullish reversal coming in. Right now, it's just kind of speculative that it's going to happen, except this is a higher low than this one. That's the only thing it's got going for it right now. So this looks like it could go either direction. So we'll put it that way. Hope this helps. This is Justin, AMZN. Thanks.